They call them Muslims. And they worship a god named Allah.
He will be a descendant of Muhammad. He will be an unparalleled, unequaled leader. He will come out of a crisis of turmoil. He will take control of the world. He will establish a new world order. He will destroy all who resist him. He will invade many nations. He will make a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. He will conquer Israel and massacre the Jews. He will establish Islamic world headquarters at Jerusalem. He will rule for 7 years, establish Islam as the only religion. He will come on a white horse with supernatural power. He will be loved by all people on earth. So Jesus will return. Yes, Muslims believe that Jesus will come again. They believe in the return of Jesus. Not the true Jesus. The Jesus of Islam, not God, didn't die, didn't rise, didn't provide a sacrifice for sin, but he does return. He's a prophet, and he comes back, and he has one purpose when he comes back, and that is to assist and aid the Mahdi. He returns, listen to this, as a radical Muslim. He comes back as a radical Muslim. He will arrive, by the way, at a minaret near Damascus. And he will come back holding the wings of 2 angels who flew him down to meet the gathering army of the Mahdi. In the east, the army of the black flags. Jesus, when he comes back, will pray to the Mahdi, who is greater than he. He will acknowledge the Mahdi as his Lord. He will make a pilgrimage to Mecca. He will worship Allah, and thus he will lead all Christians who will follow him to reject their notion of Jesus and accept the real Jesus, who is nothing but a prophet and a man. He will correct all misinterpretations and all misrepresentations. Let me quote what their literature says. He will shatter crosses. That's metaphoric for the destruction of the church, a symbol of Christianity being placed in the church. He will kill pigs. He will abolish the tax on non-Muslims because there won't be any living non-Muslims. Can't tax dead people. And then he will do one more thing. He will kill the Islamic Antichrist. He will kill the Islamic Antichrist. Then he will die and be buried by Muhammad, but not until he has destroyed Christianity by revealing who he really is. One of their writings says he espouses the cause of the Mahdi. He is the Mahdi's executioner. He is the Mahdi's enforcer. He is the Mahdi's prophet. And it is he who kills the Antichrist. This is their view of the true Christ. Our Jesus is their Antichrist. Our Antichrist is their Redeemer.
Перед основным контактом с людьми будет набираться делегация с арабских стран. Арабы будут первыми удостоены чести, наивысшей чести, стать первыми посетителями Вамфима.
А почему именно арабы?
Потому что именно они будут поддерживать те события, которые грядут, те изменения, которые грядут в ближайшем будущем. И именно арабы будут теми, кто узнает того, кто пришел. Они будут первыми из тех 10 тысяч, о которых говорил величайший пророк Мухаммед.
А пророк в действительности был?
Конечно, был. Ведь он же величайший из людей.
Does it mean that it's more difficult to influence a person if he keeps his thoughts in purity?
Yes, absolutely. When faced with various religions, it is very difficult to influence Muslims. They are in a constant connection with the egregore. They do namaz every day and read prayers on a daily basis. They are constantly under some kind of a dome, so it is very difficult to influence them. When you start impacting a person, he begins to address in a prayer. Indeed, many of them are very different from those who come to church only when everything is bad in their life. They come to pray, and then for 5 years they forget about God, some canons, and so on. Muslims, as a rule, passionately believe and passionately give energy to their egregore, and this egregore protects them very well. That's why it is very difficult to work to make any kind of influence on a true Muslim believer.
Is this some kind of a good egregore?
Well, for them, yes. This egregore is good for adepts who contribute good energy to it.
How do you sense it? For instance, you have found an energy trace of such person. What's next? Do you try to drag him somehow to visualize this threat and you fail? Or how do you do that?
It disappears. I cannot get a grip on it. I focus on it, but something immediately knocks me out of the flow, just like that. Or I visualize a person in front of me clearly and can affect him even at a mental level, but some image is not created in my mind at all. I even look at a photo, reproduce an image, but it vanishes from my mind. Thus, I can clearly see that a person is covered with something.
Does this only work with Muslims?
It does for me. Nowadays, there are very few people among Christians who truly believe. Even those who write in their comments that God is in the soul, that they are all faithful believers, but in reality they are not. Even most often they write that all this is a sin, but then ask in a private message how to make a Robin spell. Such cases also happen.
Why West promotes Islamophobia and is afraid of spreading of this particular religion. Explained in 60 seconds. Because Muslim believers are people who are less likely to be controlled, manipulated, and led astray. Why? Because Islam requires quite strict discipline in faith and life. So hypothetically, if the remaining 6 billion people turn to Islam, there's already 2 billion Muslims. The alcohol industry, meat industry, music industry, porn industry, Hollywood, gambling, many banks would collapse. That's right, and that's very scary. Those are the main reasons why they try hard to destroy and smear Muslim reputation in their countries. They try hard to displace them because that's the easiest way to modernize them and strip them away from their usual habits and communities with the goal of weakening them. I'm sure nobody told you this.
No wonder the West hates Islam. Think about it. What's the biggest moneymakers right now in the West? You've got alcohol, gambling, weapons manufacturing, the sex industry, the financial system with the interest rates, cosmetics, fashion, music, Hollywood. But Islam cripples these industries. Gambling, forbidden. Alcohol, forbidden. Pornography, completely forbidden. And the next interest is forbidden. So if Islam was in power, the current banking system would completely collapse. At the end of the day, Islam has no commercial value. They hate Islam because it threatens their profits and their power.